sun rises on Sydney Harbour. New Year's Eve is just around the corner. But the organisers' worst fears may be realised as extreme weather conditions hit the nation.
From powerful gales in Queensland to sizzling heat in Adelaide.
41 degrees is predicted for tomorrow, South Australia's hottest New Year's Eve in more than 60 years.
Prompting a warning for New Year's Eve revellers to take extra care.
The Fotis come together for a critical meeting about the fireworks.
6 barge positions, 3 on the west and 3 on the eastern side, plus the Sydney Harbour Bridge and 8 city rooftops.
Safety is paramount. Strong winds would spell disaster, with fireworks veering off course.
The weather was always a worry. I guess that the biggest thing is wind. Rain does not affect us too much, but wind, as it happened a few years ago, 4 years ago?
3-4 years ago, we actually called off the 9 p.m. fireworks because it was too windy. It was blowing about 90 kilometres per hour, which is a bit too much for fireworks.
Weather concerns aside, the Fotis plod on with preparations.
We've got cousin Angelo here. He's been doing fireworks for 41 years. He's preparing a firework for the test.
This firework is a lightning shell made up of 10 coloured charges, just a tiny piece of a much larger pyro jigsaw.
We'll use about 600 of these for New Year's Eve. It's about 6,000 of those individual components, and that's just in a 40-second segment.
Today, the Fotis conduct a typical test fire. In the world of fireworks, you can leave nothing to chance.
Okay, so once the firework has been loaded into its mortar, it then just gets plugged into its appropriate cue, which in this case is Q1.
For the first time, the lighting and fireworks display will be remotely triggered via a time-coded signal sent from the event control room.
So on the night, we'll be using 17 of these type of firing boxes. The time code, which is on the music track, comes into the firing system, where it says there, time code, and that automatically fires the show. I thought we'd do this one for you guys. 3, 2, 1. How was that?
Today, the iconic Sydney Opera House sees a temporary transformation. Preparations are well underway to set up a VIP party hosted by the Lord Mayor. Wayne Harrison is the creative director of New Year's Eve and is responsible for the look and theme of the event.
When does he play? Hi guys, welcome to my party fantasy here. This is the site of the Lord Mayor's party. There'll be 1,200 people here on New Year's Eve to help the Lord Mayor and the members of the City of Sydney ring in the new year.
Sydney New Year's Eve is arguably one of the world's most complex light and sound extravaganzas. From performance stages by the banks to the elaborate lighting design on the Harbour Bridge.
There are literally millions of combinations that you can employ to make this complete bridge effect. It weighs like 50 or 60 tonnes and it's attached to the side of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. How can you play with it?
The company responsible for operating the intricate bridge effect is Bytecraft. For 10 years now, it has lit the main icon in the centre of the bridge. This year's design is a rotating hourglass with moving crystals. It measures more than 1,000 square meters. Customized software allows Bytecraft technicians to manipulate this pivotal light display.
Each one of these channels relates to a piece of rope light that is up on the sign on the bridge, and I can change the intensity of each individual or a group of faders. As the show runs through, it will actually select cues that have been built for that part of the show and just play them back through timecode.
Bytecraft's Paul Rigby points out the daunting number of circuits and cables that will make up the bridge effect.
This is a dimmer rack, which is what actually switches the bridge effect circuits on and off. So each one of these circuits correlates to a circuit up on the top of the bridge.
This year, the bridge effect will require approximately 384 circuits, and an astonishing 5 kilometres of cables.
I think at last count we have about 20,000 cables. So we probably could run across the bridge a few times with that.
For the organisers, the challenge is to outdo each year's bridge effect with increasingly complex displays.
How do you work that out?
Back at the fireworks factory, the countdown has already begun. 11,000 shells, 10,000 shooting comets. In total, 100,000 individual pyrotechnic effects are being sorted for the final push.
This is pretty much all some of the fireworks for the bridge, and they've pulled them all out. Now they're just packing them in boxes and getting them ready to be loaded into the container and the truck.
14 20-foot shipping containers are filled to the brim with the Foti's handiwork, including 13 tons of fireworks shells and mortars of various sizes.
The small ones are 75 millimetre. These ones here are 150 millimetre. These ones here are 125 millimetre. These ones are 200 millimetres. These are 12-inch, and the 10-inch ones. So it's 250 and 300 mil. So obviously the larger you go, the bigger the firework, the bigger the spread, the better the look. That's the plan anyway. So there's roughly about 12,000 of these to be packed in the various containers, which will then be loaded up in White Bay.
The packed containers are then carefully loaded onto the launch barges at White Bay. The risks involved in moving such a large amount of explosives are always high. Fortunato himself has to be on the ground to make sure operations run smoothly. The press arrive, hoping to be clued in on what the Fotis have in store.
For us, as far as the weather's concerned, rain not so much. Everything's generally covered on the day and leading up to the display, and hopefully the wind will be favourable for us.
These mortars, loaded with fireworks, are placed into bins and packed with sand for protection. The fireworks are then placed on floating barges, which, on the night, will be remotely launched from 6 positions along the harbour.
There's quite a few special effects that will be going off on the bridge. I don't want to give anything away just yet, but there'll be some really special fireworks where we've designed the colours and the movement all in one. So it'll be different. People will notice it.
At Party Central, the final touches are put in place.
So you'll do the bridge effect at 1 o'clock? Yep. All right. It's going to be a long night. Right now, we are pretending that we are live and that we've got 1,000 people here on this site, and there are 400 people behind me running around quite madly, making sure that everything's working.
15 months of preparation, and now these last nervous moments. But organisers are confident they'll pull off another successful New Year's Eve.
We're in shape. We're in good shape. We are. The forecast is good, but you know, you don't quite know about the wind. You can feel it's a bit breezy now, but no, it's looking good. We've still got to get through tomorrow, but we're in good position.
The Sydney Harbour Bridge will be the centrepiece of the fireworks extravaganza. Up on the bridge, Foti's pyrotechnicians, along with lighting technicians, are busy setting up. Fortunato needs to make certain everything's in its right place.
Well, tonight we're loading the north side of the harbour bridge. We're taking up about 3 tonne of equipment and fireworks up. It'll probably take over 6 or 7 lifts to get everything up there, and then the crew will start distributing all that equipment over the arch. That's for tonight, and then tomorrow morning the second crew comes in and starts loading everything and getting it right for the night.
Everyone's working towards pulling off the biggest New Year's Eve spectacle ever. The iconic bridge will support a staggering number of lights and over 20,000 pyrotechnic effects. It will be a sight to behold.